Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner. So glad you're here to nourish your roots with me today. I'm a master nutritionist, quantum energy healer, functional blood work specialist, and this is my 106th podcast episode. I've been at this for 2 years now. And last week, I took the first week off from recording that I ever have in 2 years. So I did 105 episodes, didn't take a week off. There were a couple weeks where I was going to be away or something. So I recorded too, earlier the week before or something like that. But last week I was just kind of I want to take my daughters to the movies and I don't really feel like doing, I'm I think I've done this long enough that I can take a break. And it got me kind of thinking, because things are really way more stressful than they need to be. Because why? Why was I sitting there arguing with myself? Like, you can't take a break, Jess. What will people think? They'll think that you're a human being and that you can take a damn week off from recording, But we start to think, oh my gosh, if I'm not productive, am I doing anything? Am I good enough? So there's silence that I got, is healing and a little bit unsettling because, and I know we talked about stuff like this before with stress being, so normalized, but it really has. It's just become so damn normal to be so stressed out all the time that when we rest, it feels weird, if you're sitting on the couch and you're like, okay, I'm just sitting here reading a magazine, or you're just sitting and relaxing, and you're like, oh my gosh, what are these things I should be doing? You start thinking of all the things you should be doing. Or, for me, I remember growing up with my dad would come home and we had the TV on. He would be like, oh, education television. Because of course, if the TV was on, then it meant that we were not reading a book and getting more intelligent or something like that, And he was half joking, I mean, we all did rather well in school and he watches a ton of TV even now. So, it wasn't any major weirdness like that. But right, even now, if I went out into the living room and put on Friends or something, or I've been rewatching Desperate Housewives too, how fun. But anyway, if I put something like that on, and I'm just relaxing and my husband were to come home, I would probably stand up and start doing things when he walked in the door, just so it didn't look like I was sitting around doing nothing. Now, my husband, he couldn't care less. He would be like, I don't know why you got up. It's fine. I'll sit next to you. He doesn't care at all. Plus I cleaned the house earlier, so we're good. And he wouldn't care about that either. I clean up the dog hair on the floor every day because I don't like it. My husband doesn't care. But we have this panic when we slow down. People are looking at me, they're going to see me resting, they're going to think I'm lazy. But sometimes even just this modern wellness will add to our stress. Oh, if you cannot afford this $10,000 infrared sauna to keep in your home, you will never get well. And I mean, infrared saunas are fantastic, but not everybody can afford even the little cute one that you zip up over yourself in the chair. Not everybody can have one of those in their house, and it doesn't mean you're not going to heal. There's so much pressure out there. Do this, try this, you need this scanner, you need this wand, you want to do this, join this company, this is the magic product, and if you can't afford it, well, then you're not going to heal. And that can kind of be the vibe there. Or that's how you can feel oh my gosh, what if I don't buy this thing? And because you know what, that thing's probably not going to heal you anyway. Everybody is different. Sure, there are fantastic things out there that are amazing. Sometimes people have them in their house. Sometimes they got to go to a center to use it, but if you can't afford those things, don't worry, there's probably stuff in your house that we can use. Okay. We don't need to make things harder than they need to be. Okay. Just because there are options like that out there, doesn't mean it has to be harder. So this goes across everything, because there are things that we just make harder than they need to be. And these are also signs that your nervous system is in that survival mode. Now, remember, you cannot be in survival mode and experience bliss at the same time. The two cannot coexist. So most of us are just in survival mode all the time. And we're looking for bliss and wondering why the hell we can't grab it. And it's because we can't let go of us, because our nervous system is up here like this. So, we have things the group text, group chats, Signal or Telegram or Facebook Messenger or whatever group text message thing you have going on, that you kind of sit and wonder, do these people have anything to do all day? Why are they just sending all these articles and just ping, 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 ping? And there's constant conversation, and it'll start to get under your skin, right? We don't really need to make that as big as it is, but it triggers us because our nervous system is all woo. Oh my gosh, ladies. All right. I mean, I'm men too, but I think it's probably mostly ladies listening, but picking something for dinner every single night. I love cooking. Cooking is a therapy of mine. Fucking love it. But there are plenty of nights where I'm I don't care if y'all eat cereal. Okay. I don't want to make this decision. And that's okay to let them eat cereal once in a while. Okay. I mean, we get some cereal over at Trader Joe's, put some raw milk on there. Hey, whatever, I mean, I got teenagers. I would rather her eat some of that than whatever other candy she magically picked out of her pocket and was like, look, I have anyway, picking something for dinner every night is like, it can be an absolute nightmare because it's just one more decision and then action has to follow the decision. So like it's totally okay to just be like, you know what, we're gonna go to the diner tonight. You know what? We're gonna have cereal today. You know what? Maybe I'm just gonna throw these like frozen chicken tenders that I have like in there, and we're just gonna, we're gonna have toddler dinner. And that's okay. But like, because we're making it way more stressful than it needs to be. And through no fault of our own, because like you're overstimulated, you freaking had it. And that one decision of making dinner, it's a no. It's a no. Like you couldn't possibly make that decision. So there's other stuff, like you might send like a big text message to somebody and they respond with K and you're just like, you feel like you wasted all this time. So things like that. You've got, oh my gosh, remembering passwords. So, there's like all these different things you can use to keep your passwords, like through your Chrome and through, LastPass or whatever it is you want to use. There are ways to hold all your passwords so you don't have to remember everything, right? And then there's like this one, like, website that you're like, oh, I got to log back into this website now. And it's not something that you really make purchases with. It's like, why is there even a security to get into this damn website kind of a thing? Okay. It's not like your bank or anything. And they're like, well, you don't know your password. And none of the things you use remembers it. So you're guessing your password and it doesn't know no, that's not it. You have to change your password. So you change your password. You try to change it to what you think it is. Oh no, you can't make it the same thing as it was. you know, and then you just want to like throw things across the room. So, I mean, there are lots of things that really stress us out. Oh my God, wellness influencers screaming about the thing of the week, screaming about fruit or whatever. I mean, for God's sakes, those people eat their damn strawberries. Or wanting to optimize your sleep or your fitness so much that, you're getting real aggressive. Listen, if you're trying to aggressively get sleep, you're doing it wrong. You should, sleep is a calm thing. If you're like putting on a suit of armor to run after everything in terms of chasing sleep, that's probably going to be counterproductive to actually getting some restorative sleep that you need, when we're just constantly so aggressive with it. you know Supplements schedules, I know I've talked about it so many times before, but the supplement schedules that need an entire freaking spreadsheet and they're 3 pages long, when you're looking at it and you're going, oh my God, yeah, your body's doing that too. And it doesn't know what to do with most of it. So it's probably just going to crap most of it out. It's not going to utilize it in the way that you want it to when your body is super stressed out like that. So you have to first find calm. And you should never have a supplement list that is that insane. You know, and I've personally had a supplement list that insane, and I've had people on it, and I'd be the first one to tell you it's not worth it because you're not going to get the result that you want out of it. Go much lower, go slower. You will know when to go faster, but you don't want it to require a spreadsheet. It's just going to make everything so much worse. Okay. And remember, taking a week off, we don't need to question our entire identity because you take a week off, right? Try not to take a week off from your supplements. That'll set you back quite a little bit. I just wanted to clarify that real there. But so we're so used to running on this like stress chemistry, rest feels uncomfortable. Your comfort zone is that stressed out survival state. And what is going on there? You are, like that is what your body is going for. That is that is your loop that is constantly on there. And the loop is just going to keep on looping. It's your default mode and it is just going to keep on going, chasing the stress chemistry because that's what feels comforting. So it's like you're mistaking pain for pleasure. So what's going to happen when things like that happen? Well, your hormones, your cortisol is going to be all wacky. You'll get puffy in the midsection. You're not sleeping super well. Your sleep schedule is all off. You're not absorbing your energy from your food as well as you should be. Any supplement practices that you're on are kind of just falling. They're not hitting the way that they need to because your body is not open to receiving what you're giving it. You're going to be in a constant state of overstimulation, and when you're overstimulated, you're not very big on receiving. You're just kind of, like electrified. And we don't need to be accessible constantly. Set those damn boundaries. Okay. It's okay to be like, I'm not answering this text until tomorrow. I'm not answering this email until tomorrow. Being, the neurospicy woman that I am, I know that if I look at a text or an email or something, and I'm like, I'm not going to do this right now because it's 7 p.m. and I'm going to wait till tomorrow. I know that if the notification is not there, that I will forget to do it. So I will set a reminder in my phone for the next morning. So like at 9 o'clock in the morning, I get like a notification from my calendar reminding me all the stuff that I promised that last night Jess promised this morning Jess would do. So we have to remind this morning Jess to do it. And that has really calmed down a lot of the anxieties of things like that, because I was finding that I was like, all right, I have to answer this right now, even though it's the middle of the damn night, because I'm going to forget about it in the morning. Then 5 days goes by and people are like, why is Jess ignoring me? Didn't mean to. But I want you guys to understand that your identity is not tied to productivity. So, like last week, I didn't do a podcast, and that doesn't mean like, oh, she's not a podcaster anymore. No, it just means she took a break because she's a human, and that's it, and it's okay. Like that's okay. Because if we're not going to calm down, if we're not going to realize that, the comforting survival mode is actually the opposite, then things aren't going to change. We have to actually put something in there, find that clarity so that that loop can start to change. Super fun. It's actually pretty easy to do. But you know what? I mean, honestly, I don't think that everybody necessarily needs a detox. I think you kind of just need to go sit outside without a phone pinging at you. We've kind of optimized ourselves out of basic peace. I talked about like some of these apps and stuff that we have, for biometrics to get to know your body more, whether it's your cycle or your heart rate or your exercise, your sleep. There are ways to measure these things, and these are super helpful tools. But the app itself, like, it's not the boss of you. You could wake up in the morning and be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I could just sleep all day. I don't think I slept all that well. I think blah, blah. And then your app is like, wow, you slept so great. Yay, you're a champ. I mean, but you know how you feel. And the opposite can be true too. Oh, your heart rate, like it lowered late last night. Like, are you feeling okay? And you're sitting there like, I feel like $1 million. What are you talking about? So, while these things are very helpful for us to get to know our bodies and so that we can work with our practitioners and stuff so that everybody can serve your body better, to get your body where you want to be, to achieve that bliss state, achieve that wellness. The app itself, is not the guidance itself. It's to help everybody else fill in these missing puzzle pieces and everything. It's not the be all end all of your existence, and it's definitely not the boss of you. So if your app is telling you something and you're like, well, I don't feel that way, then just ignore it. Put the damn thing down. It was wrong today. It's fine. Okay. Everybody's wrong sometimes, including those apps. They're just run by AI anyway. Come on. So, kind of like on this sort of a note, we don't need your wellness practices to feel like military training, because you're not going to, get your nervous system to calm down and activate your vagus nerve for any rest, digest, and healing to happen if you have like a boot camp kind of a style or outlook or vibe, when you are going at, you're putting on the full suit of armor. I'm ready to kill the pathogens. If you are in that much of a crazy fight or flight survival mode, your nervous system is not going to allow those pathogens to properly unalive and then get on at your body. It's just, everything's not going to be received as well. Your body's going to be confused about it. It's not going to be able to utilize everything because it is constantly overcompensating for other areas because you're under all of this stress. So your hormones, your cortisol, all that stuff is going nuts. So you're overcompensating other areas. So then your body's like, I can't even do anything with all this stuff you're giving me. I know it's great, but I got to do all this stuff over here. So sometimes we have to figure out how to achieve that calming before we even start like throwing all of the things at it, everything with the kitchen sink at it, just to make it, make you feel better. Oh, excuse me. I have a scam likely call. Let me just ignore that. Okay, so how many of those do you get a day? Is that another one? Like, how many times a day does scam likely and toll-free call give a call? Oh my goodness. So, all right. Did I say this already today? I'm not sure. But if your healing routine, okay, like, if it's like a boot camp thing, it's a military camp that, you were just like, with like, fighting to get your wellness back. Your healing routine, if it's stressing you out like that, you're doing it wrong. I mean, you're not going to get better. I remember when I went into labor with my fourth child, and I was still in school for my master's for nutrition. And I thought, I mean, he was 9 days early, 10 days or something. I thought I had another week. Okay. So my water breaks right around dinner time on a Friday. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have the baby tonight or tomorrow. I'm gonna have a baby this weekend. And I had like a project for this one class that I was taking. And I forget what it was, but it was something about stress and like it was a class like about that sort of thing. And I don't remember exactly what the name of the class was, but I remember I emailed my professor and I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought I had another week because my due date is blah, blah, blah. And there were no signs, but my water is just broken. So unfortunately, I'm so sorry. I think I'm going to be late with turning in my project because I'm gonna need some more time. But like I gotta go have a baby. And my professor, she comes back and she was like, in all of my years of teaching, I don't think I've ever had someone apologize for, going into labor. She's like, this is a wellness school. It's a holistic wellness place. Like, of course, go and have your baby, and like you can take all the time that you need. Now, maybe like there are probably people who have very, very different experiences if they had to do the same type of a thing. But whatever it is that you're doing to try to better your life, it shouldn't be stressing you out even more. Okay. And she did a good job of reminding me of that. She's like, you don't need to be apologizing. You're having a baby. That is your top priority, and I'll be here when you're done. And that is like the absolute best outlook that I could have gotten from a professor at that time. And I try to be like that with you guys. Okay. So like when somebody is like, oh my gosh, I forgot to take my supplements, or this isn't going well, I'm really stressed out. Okay, that's all right. You're a human. Let's look at all of these things, and remind you that like it's okay to not be perfect, because not a single fucking one of us are. And the nervous system, like safety, not perfection, because perfection is, I mean, it's like this pipe, you can't have it. It's not a thing that humans can really obtain. So, safety is often just being, just existing. And we kind of forget to do that, like just exist, and enjoy what's around you and be present. And it's very, very difficult for us to be present anymore, especially because, I think it was difficult for the past lots and lots of decades, regardless. But in the last 20 years, it's really gotten to be a lot more difficult because we have the smartphones, and we have there's so much constant being connected. You're never turned off. There's screens in our faces everywhere, which, yes, these are very useful, but that's not how, when we were made here on Earth. That's not what was, we're like, oh, well, these humans will walk around with screens in their faces. No, that's not how we were created. So, but your nervous system, safety, we just stop being in quite such a rush. I mean, if you're running late, you're running late. And that's how it is. I mean, I try to make, 25-minute drives in 15 minutes all the time, and I've never once succeeded. I'm always late. But you got to do what you got to do, because you're trying to do 16 things before you leave the house. But try not to be in a rush and not worried about the next group of tasks. It's so hard to just like sit somewhere and be present with yourself and listen to the things around you. And that is one of my favorite things about my emotional balance toolkit, because it's so easy to just have these things with you. Do like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or these are things that you can do to calm yourself down. You don't need a meditation pillow. You don't have to go for a walk in the woods. You don't need anything special. You can just do these things real quick to remind you of where the hell you are and what's going on. What is true in this moment with your body and everything. Where are you? What's going on? Because the stuff in your head is probably not priority right now. It's probably not right here in front of your face. It may not even be true. Your emotions can be little fucking liars. So I invite you to download my emotional balance toolkit. It's just $7. So it's super inexpensive. Go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/EBT for emotional balance toolkit. And I just kind of want to end with, rest probably feels uncomfortable because we've forgotten what it's like to exist without producing something. And we feel like we constantly have to be showing something good that we're doing in order to just feel worthy to exist. And that's not the case. You get to exist regardless. Anyway, I'm back. Love you guys.